Hey, what's up, you guys? We're getting closer on that drive to Dayton. It is episode number 7. We are getting all geared up for regional week, which starts tomorrow with the annual Division 4 regional semifinals on Tuesday. So there will be a slew of games tomorrow that we will.
And one Division 1 game tomorrow as well with Hoban and St. Ed's.
Hoban and St. Ed's going to be a little bit different tomorrow, and they're going to play on Tuesday. So definitely looking forward to this week. You got the top, well, I don't want to say top, but we got 16 teams remaining in each of the 4 divisions. Only 64 teams left in the field of nearly 800 teams, which is incredible. So in 2 weeks, we dismissed over 700 teams. That is crazy. Well, gentlemen, let's start this the way we always do. Well, let me hold on one second. Let's congratulate Mr. TJ on his district picks championship. 39 wins, 25 losses.
It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. First off, I want to start by, thanking God, my family. Without them, I wouldn't be here today.
I thought you might write that as a Twitter post.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for participating. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, it was kind of like it wasn't a real pretty tournament.
No.
It's kind of like the Big Ten. I finished at 37 and 27. Roth finished at 36 and 28. So I will say this, to Roth's credit, he went out on a limb a good bit more.
Until it broke.
Yeah, it broke. Roth would have had a legit chance. He got a slow start. Middletown crushed him early, and then
I just needed to win a couple of the tight games, like Smithville losing on a buzzer beater, Highland beating River on last second free throws. Gilmore beat Ursuline. Those were 3. I lost to you and TJ. That was what killed me, because I think I only got 2 close ones.
I don't think I had Gilmore. I had Smithville as well, I believe. And
yeah, those were two that Stubbs got.
Yeah, you both had Ursuline.
Yeah, we both had Ursuline, TJ. And then the Highland River game. I think you both had a Highland and I had River.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll probably bring them up later on in the show, but kind of hats off to Gilmore Academy. They had a very similar season last year where they had highs, lows, ups and downs. And then, come late February, March, they figure it out and they get it rolling. I think they had a very kind of close win against Girard.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and upset Ursuline just a few days later. So, hats off to Coach DeCrane and the seniors over there. They got a good group. So,
yeah, I think that game with Girard, I think, went into overtime.
Yep.
They were that team all year where, all right, I know they got 3 pretty valuable pieces back from that team last year, and it was just I was mad at them all year. I was like, they'd win a couple, and I'd be like, here they come, and then they would just get hammered by somebody.
And I guess devil's advocate a little bit, there were a lot of teams that were like that this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at a Walsh Jesuit who's still playing. They got Stowe on Wednesday, I believe. But God, I mean, Walsh started off. They beat Ignatius and St. V. I don't know if there's another team in the state that can say they did that this year. And then they turn around, would lose to an Austintown Fitch, a North Canton Hoover late in the year. So this season, just as a whole, was probably one of the more weirdest seasons I think I've covered since I've been around.
Reds can also say they've done that, but they did also lose to Ignatius.
Yeah, that's true. Good call.
Well, let's jump into our teams of the week. Roth, I'll start out with you. Who do you got for your teams of the week?
Yeah, so I went with 2 Division II teams, and the first Division II team that I went with is Rossford. They beat Wauseon, a team that I believe beat them in the regular season.
Correct.
38-21, not even close. And then they follow that up with a 48-34 victory over top-seeded Toledo Central Catholic. Rossford has a trio of seniors, Derek Vorst, Jake Morrison, and also Brendan Revels. Vorst is committed to Indiana State University. So they're a team that could definitely make a run in Division II. And then my other Division II team is Kettering Alter. They're another team that I think went through some ups and some downs this season. Had some big wins, but then also would follow that up with a couple tough conference losses. But they came out. They beat Dayton Meadowdale in the district semis by 18 points, and then upset Taft, who was one of the top teams in the state, 46-43. And now they get a rematch with a Dayton Dunbar team that they played earlier in the season. So that'll be an interesting one, as the winner of that game will likely take on Dayton Chaminade Julian in the regional final. But Dunbar actually got Alter 67-65 in the regular season. Anthony Ruffalo with 28 points in that one. He'll need to be good again, as in the district final, Ruffalo 13 points, but it was senior AJ Lean leading the way with 19.
And it seems like those seniors at Alter have been playing for forever now. I remember I would go watch Jacob Connor, I believe, when he was a sophomore. Those guys were playing some as freshmen. They all started as sophomores. So, yeah, it just seems like, man, these guys they've been around forever. What was the guy at Kansas, Perry Ellis?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that. And it's interesting, too, because Alter, right, they lost to Dunbar early in the regular season. If they happen to get by Dunbar this time around, then they got another rematch with Chaminade Julian, who I believe they beat in the regular season, right? Close?
2 losses, each by 7 points. The only loss CJ took to an Ohio team was against
Carroll.
Carroll.
Carroll. Yeah, that's what it was. But, yeah, it'd be interesting. I would say for my teams of the week, I think we were all in attendance for the Newark Olentangy Liberty game. I thought that Newark just put on an absolute clinic on both ends of the floor. They're just so fundamentally skilled, especially on the defensive end. I thought Grant Burkholder, I haven't seen a ton of tweets and stuff about him, but that's a kid who I thought was probably the best overall performer of that entire day. I think I would say at the end of the third quarter, I looked up, he had 22 of their 30-something points. He probably assisted on another 8 to 10 of those points. So he was a guy that just had his fingerprints all over that game. And then my other team that I'm going to go with is out of Southwest Ohio. So I was eyeing that Fairfield Huber Heights Wayne game. I thought it would be one of the more entertaining district finals, one of the more competitive games. And Fairfield just kind of proved me wrong. They came out, won 76-51. So, yeah, tip my cap to those seniors down there. And I'm hoping if we get a Centerville-Fairfield regional final matchup, I will more than likely make the trip on Saturday.
Good list, gentlemen. I went a little different after I asked you guys who you were going to go with. Let's just say it's kind of like a not even an honorable mention, but just there were so many teams this past week that really could have been given these awards this week. 3 teams in Division I I thought had great weeks. Westerville South, they beat a rival that beat them twice in the regular season, Westerville North. And then they go on and beat Dublin Jerome again for the second year in a row in the district final. Perrysburg, just absolutely boat racing Lima Senior in that district final. Akron Hoban has been playing outstanding. They beat Glen Oak and Nordonia, just destroyed Glen Oak. And I believe Glen Oak
I think they held Nordonia scoreless in the third quarter.
Now, didn't Glen Oak beat Hoban in the regular season?
They did. They played at I think it's like the Spectrum Orthopedics Classic in North Canton Hoover.
Yeah.
Glen Oak Jr., Ja'Cory Lipkins had like the putback at the buzzer. That was at a point in the season when Glen Oak was absolutely rolling. I think they started off the year 9 or 10-0. Had a few big wins, and yeah, that Hoban game was one of them.
Yeah, there was no need for a putback on Saturday or on Thursday. That was just a dump trucking. D2, Van Wert ends St. Mary's 14-game winning streak and then absolutely destroys Defiance, a team that beat them in the regular season. I think they beat them by 26. Tri-Valley beat St. Clairsville and John Glenn. Fairfield Union, team that just kind of all year under the radar, just kept winning games. They beat Gallia and New Lex. Cheney does it again. I'm not getting fooled by them next year. They beat Alliance and Canfield. And then Glenville. Got to give a shout out to Glenville. They beat Benedictine and CVCA again.
And with Glenville too, it's kind of an awesome story because Coach Holt, I believe, is retiring after the season. So to see him go out with a district championship and potentially room to get 1 or 2 more, I think it's just an awesome story for a really good guy. Dude's always been nice to me from day one. So yeah, definitely a nice little feel good story there if you're a Glenville fan.
Yeah, Zach Jackson is a Glenville fan. Shout out, Zach. D3, Wayne Trace, gotta give him a I can't even.
Hey, I love Zach, man. I don't know what day that was, whether it was it Saturday? But man, whatever day it was, Zach had time that day, man. So yeah. I feel like he's good for 1 or 2 of those tweets a season, man, and it just never disappoints. So
he may have had a few pops Saturday night.
I think so.
Yeah. D3 Wayne Trace. Interesting. I was standing in line at Chipotle and I was looking through YouTube to see if there was any live streams on Saturday night, and boom, that game popped up. Long story short, Kyle Stoller hits the game-winning 3 to beat Emmanuel Christian 50-49. How about North Adams? They knock off Minford and Lucasville Valley. Beechwood is a team we haven't really talked about too much on this show. They win the district. And then D4, Franklin Furnace Green beats unbeaten Fairfield, Leesburg Fairfield. Federal Hawking, gotta be mentioned. 53 years the last time they won a district. And then Patrick Henry knocks off Ayersville. Thought that was a really good win for Patrick Henry.
When you said team
and
Twerk, I didn't realize. I mean, you just rattled off the whole state.
Hey man, I didn't want.
Stubbs got 20% of the 64 teams left in the tournament right now.
I didn't want anybody that really did something special this week. I didn't want them to go unnoticed.
Yep.
So yeah, Patrick Henry knocks off Antwerp, which had been playing extremely well So shout out to those teams. I'll just go ahead and what's
Got
that?
a quick question for you guys before we move on. While I was trying to figure out my team of the week and player of the week, what's one game, whether it was the margin of victory or if it was an upset, what was the one game you guys thought was probably the biggest surprise to you from Friday, Saturday, or Sunday?
I'm gonna go margin of victory, Perrysburg. I mean, they're a senior laden team. They got a lot of shooting, but Lima Senior has dominated that Northwest sort of double district, and Perrysburg to do what they did and win by almost 40 points, almost doubling Lima Senior. That sent a statement that if they can get by Toledo St. John's, it's not going to be a cakewalk for the winner of the Cleveland side in that regional final.
Yeah, I agree. From a few of the people that I've spoken with out in Northwest Ohio, they say that Perrysburg team is just really tough. They limit you to one and out. They have a really good zone that they do. They box out. They make shots. I know you saw them route, and I've seen plenty of tweets about that junior, the shooter. I mean, he's had multiple games this year, 6, 7, 8 threes. Then they have a really good senior, Matt Watkins, who I haven't seen in a while, but he's been a really good player since he was young. So I'll be curious to see, if Perrysburg can get past Toledo St. John, how they'll fare in a game with either Ignatius or Garfield Heights. But I would say probably my surprise is definitely the Wayne Trace over Emmanuel Christian. I remember right after that, that tweet went up and the result came out. There was a lot of murmurs down in Columbus, people just kind of shocked. And I was too, just based off seeing Wayne Trace not that long ago take a loss to Tiffin Columbian. I thought Junior Brooks' lockup was incredible. I thought they had a few guys that can make shots. But I just thought, even though Emmanuel Christian has had a lot of turbulence this year and some dysfunctional stuff going on, from losing their coach early on and things like that, I just thought the talent would at least win out for them as far as the districts and maybe regional semis.
Yeah, I'll get to. I think, when you look at guys like Jerry Easter and Darren Peterson, super talented players, guys that are going to have probably a future making a lot of money playing the sport. It just goes to show you, when you think about LeBron James and you think about O.J. Mayo, those guys never drop the ball. I mean, you talk about LeBron James, 4 straight Final Fours, 4 straight state championship games with the target on their back every single time. Mayo, same thing. Outside of their freshman year, state championship, goes to Huntington, state championship. Those guys like Peterson and Easter are fantastic, but the guys like LeBron and Mayo and those guys that we were spoiled with for a time frame were just different. And I know everybody wants to go, he's the next this, he's the next that. Those guys were different.
I still tell people all the time, O.J. Mayo is the most polished sophomore and junior in high school that I have ever seen. Not just in Ohio, but in general. I mean, it was just unbelievable how composed that guy was.
Poetry in motion, man.
Yeah.
I would say the two Ottawa Glandorf shellacking of Spencerville I thought OG would win. I just didn't think it would be, that lopsided. I thought the Van Wert Defiance game was going to be close. That was extremely lopsided. And, I thought Princeton would win. I thought Moeller would give a better game than that. Figure something out, muck it up a little bit, do what they do. But to get beat by 20 plus, that was a little surprising to me. And I know this isn't, a great Moeller team by any means, but still. to lose by 20 plus was really surprising to me.
Yeah, and when I saw Moeller earlier in the year, I saw him twice. They really at times struggled to accept pressure, and they didn't really have that guy or that guard that could get by, turn the corner, and go make a play. So when you pressured them and you really kind of pushed the tempo against them, they had a hard time. I saw that with Centerville. I know Roth was down there when they played Princeton the first time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this Moeller team bounces back next year. They'll have a lot of young, talented forwards and bigs that are all coming back. So
yeah, I think that was another group of kids that kind of spoiled Moeller for a while. You don't know when it's happening, but when you can look back on it and go, oh shoot, Moeller had 2 NBA players on that team, and they had probably at least an honorable mention all-league guy in Davenport at UC. I mean, when you look back on it that way, it's incredible. Like 2 NBA guys on the same team is that's just remarkable, and that doesn't happen all the time, which is why you've seen Moeller kind of come back to the pack. All right, let's I'll go ahead and start with my players of the week. 2 of these were more of like just their play on both ends of the court, and then one kind of more of offensive that you saw this week. I'll mention him first. Dayton Green at Sandusky. He has 29 points against Lexington. Sandusky forced 31 turnovers in that game. That's usually gonna get it done. And then the other 2 guys I thought were just super on both ends of the floor, which were Amari Spiva at Pickerington Central and a guy you mentioned earlier, Grant Burkholder of Newark. Burkholder was unbelievable. Just getting in that lane, shooting that little floater, that leaning floater that he does there in the lane.
I mean, dude, he was shooting floaters from like 15, 17 feet.
Yes.
Man.
He had one floater from almost the 3-point line.
Yeah, I feel like you don't see too many kids who have like that patented floater in their games anymore. So it's kind of refreshing not only to watch him play, but just Newark play in general.
He's not the biggest guy in the world, but
No.
He plays exceptionally hard, and all those Newark guys, and you could say the same for Bradley as well, they are much stronger than you think they are. When you look at some of those guys, you're like, but they are much stronger than you think they are. And I thought Newark out-toughed Liberty on Saturday. They got every loose ball, they got every rebound that was equal opportunity. I thought they got guys like the sophomore that just knows his role. He's going to reverse the ball. He does a great job of talking. He was keeping those guys, especially Meister can get a little bit hot-headed at times. They calmed him down. So I just thought it was an incredible team effort by Newark on Saturday, and I wouldn't expect any less. Quackenbush is he's got to be in the top 5 to 10 in the state as far as guys, X's and O's guy and motivate and all that stuff. So those are my players of the week.
I feel like I have to go with CJ Hornbeek. Me and Roth caught them, I believe that was last Tuesday against Findlay, in what was not a very pretty basketball game. I think that's an understatement. But CJ hit a pull-up 3 right as the buzzer sounded. He's another guy who's been starting for 4 years at Toledo St. John. And that win, I think, helped propel them into, beating Toledo Whitmer, which is a team they split with in the regular season. So Toledo St. John, man, they're very, very well prepared. They overhelp. They're tough. They move the ball. They have a really good guard. So while they might not be the deepest or the most talented team, I still think that they have an outside shot in that Perrysburg game. My second player of the week would be Turtle Kwasniak. So obviously I've been getting texts and calls from Babe for the last 2 years. It was nice to finally get out and see Turtle play. And he didn't disappoint. I thought he lived up to all the hype. He finished with 34 points. He shot 7 of 13 from 3. I mean, we say it all the time, but this is a guy who had like in the gym range. I mean, it didn't matter if it was off the catch, off a dribble handoff, off a pull up, flare, pin down. I mean, it was he shot in about every way you could imagine on Friday. And then you mentioned Westerville South earlier. I thought their backcourt of Cruz McClure and Jalen Wheeler was phenomenal on the offensive end. Those two guys just made just a plethora of just tough, contested shots off the dribble. I thought Cruz McClure was also really good on the defensive end. I feel like it takes a real crafty, sneaky guy, to steal the ball from Ryan Nutter not only once but twice. So he's a kid who was kind of a big surprise for me. A kid who I saw as a freshman and liked him, thought he was athletic and could guard. But I think the jump that he made in terms of his offensive skills and his floor game, it was nice to see. So that would be my last mention. Cruz McClure and Jalen Wheeler of Westerville South.
So my two guys, first one, Jonas Nichols at Archbishop Hoban in Akron. He's a guy who has a couple mid-major offers, can really create for himself in isolation. And Stubbs mentioned some of their impressive victories. They shot the ball incredibly efficiently from three-point range against Glen Oak, and he was a part of that. And then really secured up on the defensive end against Nordonia. And then my second player of the week is going to be Caleb Lovely from South Point. This was a guy that Stubbs mentioned when we were previewing this district. But the lefty scored 39 points in their district championship victory over Zane Trace. He was athletic, got to the rim whenever he wanted, and led South Point to their first district title since 1990.
I like it. I was, I don't know if you guys have seen Jonas Nichols more than I have, but when I was looking at him, I was like, his build looks like somebody, and it dawned on me, he looks like, his build looks like Rajon Rondo. Like, that is what his build looks like. He's, what is he, probably 6'2", 6'3", maybe?
Yeah, about 6'3".
Real long, though.
Yeah, he actually slimmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
From last year. I mean, he just has such a big frame, strong, really strong legs and base, knows how to use his body to create space. Like Ralph said, I mean, he's in the conversation for top ISO scorers in Ohio. I think as his feel starts to come around and the game slows down a bit for him, I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good player, not only at Hoban, but wherever he chooses to go at the next level.
Well, all right, gentlemen. That'll wrap up kind of our rewind from last week. So it's our show, and we can do what we want. So this is our chance for a do-over here. So we're going to go through our regional picks, and whatever we said a couple weeks ago, just forget it, because we're gonna do what we want here. So before we make our picks, let me just remind us who we picked to win the state a couple weeks ago. So I had Pick Central, Reedy, Lutheran East, Richmond Heights. TJ, you had Centerville, Dayton CJ, Reedy as an honorable mention, Lutheran East, and Richmond Heights. And then Mike actually had 2 honorable mentions. He had Centerville with St. Ignatius as an honorable mention. He had Dayton CJ, and his honorable mention was Lutheran West. Division III, Emmanuel Christian. They let him down. And then Richmond Heights. So we were Richmond Heights across the board. And I would be surprised if any of us have changed our opinion on that pick at this point.
No.
I haven't. I didn't think that you guys did either. So we'll start with Division 4. In the Athens region, you got Furnace Green, Northside Christian, Federal Hocking, Berlin Highland. For me, the only question mark here is who's going to win that Green and Northside Christian game. I'm going to go with Northside Christian. I think they have the best player in this game. And I'll take Berlin Highland, and I'll take Berlin Highland to advance out of this region. Shocker.
I have Berlin Highland as well. One thing I've learned during this time of the year, you don't bet against Berlin Highland, especially in that region. So I don't think much else needs to be said. I think defensively, regardless of who they have, they're phenomenal. They're physical. They talk. They're in the gaps. They're just a team that's tough to score on. And if they got guys that can put the ball in the hoop, they have a chance to be really good.
Who you got in the top game, TJ?
I would say I would probably go with Northside Christian, just because I'm more familiar with them. I've seen them early on in the year. I think they'll have the most talented player on the floor, and sophomore Landon Vanderwalker. So he's a kid who I got to see quite a bit in the spring and the summer. So I think anytime you have a legitimate Division I target in a Division IV game, I would say I like your chances.
So Kurt with Highland, TJ with Highland. Roth, what you got for us? Is Roth frozen in time? There he is.
Oh, there we go. I'm back. All right.
Roth, who do you got in Athens region?
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the same picks as you guys. I'm gonna go with Berlin Highland to win the region and Northside Christian as a runner-up. Franklin Furnace Green, their star player Levi Sampson, he was battling injuries and like cramps in the second half. Really gutsy performance for him to go out there. Made some key offensive rebounds, putbacks, and assists in the fourth quarter as they upset top-seeded Leesburg Fairfield. But I think Vanderwalker is going to be too much, especially if he's not at 100%. And I just think Highland is the most complete team in this region now that they beat River, who was originally going to be my pick.
All right, down in Bowling Green, you got Marion Local, Patrick Henry, Convoy Crestview, Mohawk. I will take Marion Local after getting out of the MAC district tournament, beating St. Henry there in the final. And then I will take Convoy Crestview, who survived Ottoville in double overtime, 63-61. And then I will take Marion Local to beat Convoy Crestview and advance to the Final Four to meet Berlin Highland.
I have Convoy Crestview and Marion Local as well in the regional final. And I actually have Convoy Crestview winning that region. What about you, Rob?
So I'm going to agree with Stubbs, but I'm going to make the trip up there on Tuesday for the regional semis. So excited to see 4 new teams. Always something that I try to do at this time of the year. See new teams that I haven't seen this regular season. And I haven't seen any of these teams previously in person. So should be a good day of basketball at BG.
All right, over in Kettering on the other side of the bracket, you got Patriot Prep, Jackson Center, Russia, and Troy Christian. I'll take Jackson Center up top. And this game below is tricky. I feel like this could go either way. But I am going to take Russia to meet Jackson Center. And then I will take Jackson Center to advance to the Final Four.
I am going to go with the same regional final as you, but similar to the last region, I actually have Russia winning. So that was a team that I got to see play for about a half down at the Fort Loramie MOK Classic, and I was just surprised by just the amount of different guys they had that could put the ball in the hoop. I think in that game against Willard, they had 2 or three guys that finished with 20, another guy that was hovering close to 20. So I think whenever you have that many capable scorers in Division 4, I like your chances. And I think you guys mentioned it earlier, our last show, the fact that they won the baseball state championship. It just seems like that program, that school in general, just kind of got things rolling. So they're my pick.
Yeah, I'm going to copy TJ this time instead of copying Stubbs. These were two teams that split in the regular season. Russia got the first one, and Jackson Center got the second one. Should be a very interesting game. I think in Division 4, the two most interesting games in the regionals are going to be that Richmond Heights Cornerstone game, and if we get the Jackson Center Russia game. I'm going to go with Russia over Jackson Center.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong here. The thing that had me leaning Jackson Center is this is Elchert's last year. He's retiring after this year at Jackson Center. And I think that sometimes that can give you a little bit of a boost. So we'll see. That'd be a fantastic regional final. All right, in Canton, Colonel Crawford against Dalton. In the Fighting Babe Kwasniaks of Cornerstone Christian against Richmond Heights. I will take Dalton up top. I will take Richmond Heights down below. And then I will take Richmond Heights to advance to the finals, to the Final Four to play Jackson Center.
I have the exact same picks. I have Richmond Heights over Cornerstone Christian, Dalton over Colonel Crawford. I will say I am torn on what I will be doing tomorrow, whether I make the trip to Kent to see Hoban and Eds, or if I drive up the road and see that D4 doubleheader. I think Cornerstone Christian, here's my prediction. I think Cornerstone Christian comes out. I think they punch Richmond Heights in the mouth. I think they make a ton of shots. I think they play with a lot of energy. And then I think eventually, I think the talent will kind of settle in and take over. I will take Richmond Heights down the stretch by double digits, but I do think it will be a very fun, competitive game.
All right, we will be back with Roth's picks here in a minute. And we're back on the drive to Dayton. We are anxiously awaiting Mike Roth's picks in the Canton Regional. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to switch it up. One of the few different regional semifinal picks. I'm going to take Colonel Crawford over Dalton. This is a team that's done a lot of winning. They had two really good seniors last year, but they moved down from D3 to D4. They got another couple impressive seniors this season, so I'm going to take them where they will fall to Richmond Heights. So I got Richmond Heights making it to the Final Four, beating Cornerstone Christian and then Colonel Crawford.
All right, so my Final Four picks, I'm going to go Marion Local over Highland, and I'm going to go with Richmond Heights and over Jackson Center in what I think will be a really good game. But I will take Richmond Heights, and then I will take Richmond Heights to beat Marion Local in the finals of the D4 state championship game.
So we got the same bracket.
I will take Richmond Heights as well, but I will take Richmond Heights over Berlin Highland.
Woo!
Ooh, actually, wait. The only difference between me and Stubbs is I had a Russia instead of Jackson.
All right.
Rest safe.
So none of us have switched. Richmond Heights is still winning it. So go out there and make sure you bet that one. All right, Division 3. This could be crazy. Bowling Green, Wayne Trace, Canton Central Catholic, Ottawa Glandorf, Cardinal Stritch. I'm going to take Wayne Trace in the first game. And then I think Ottawa Glandorf, Cardinal Stritch could be interesting. I just think this OG team is on some kind of mission right now. So I'm going to go OG Wayne Trace, and then I will take OG to return to Dayton.
I have the exact same picks. I believe that maybe OG tunes into the to the podcast every week. I think they've probably felt a little disrespected by the Luther East talk, and the fact that we thought that they had the toughest road to Dayton.
Yep.
And I think they are out to prove us wrong. So I will go Ottawa Glandorf over Cardinal Stritch, and then I will take them over Wayne Trace in the regional final.
You know how some teams put like nobody believed in us? I'm a Coach McLaughlin. You guys are on upset alert against Cardinal Stritch. I think you guys are going to win, but they are on upset alert. I am going to pick OG to beat Cardinal Stritch, but if you were giving me a spread, I'd be taking Cardinal Stritch with the points if you're making it anything more than 5. So I think OG wins. I think it's going to be a tight one. I am going to pick Wayne Trace, and then I am going to pick OG to win more comfortably over Wayne Trace if that is the game. But they're on upset alert.
All right, now to everybody's favorite region. Let's head to Athens. Columbus Afrocentric against Garaway. I believe that was the regional final last year. And then South Point and North Adams. I will take Afrocentric in the top game. I think Garaway will make this game a little closer than people think. They did last year as well. And in the bottom, I think gets a pick 'em down there. I'm going to take South Point, and then I'll take Afrocentric to beat South Point. Afrocentric will play Ottawa Glandorf in a rematch of last year's incredible state semifinal game.
I have the exact same picks. So I have Afrocentric over Garaway and South Point. I will say, though, I think this Afrocentric team, not that they, I obviously I'm picking them to make it out. But I do think, like you mentioned, it's going to be a little more challenging than people think. I think you're just going against teams who, have put a target on your back, teams that have probably heard that they're going to lose all year. So I think it just provides a little extra motivation this time. And if Afrocentric's not ready to play, it could go either way.
Yeah, I was at the Afrocentric Garaway game last year. And I think it's going to be similar to that one where Garaway kind of hung around for a little, like around 3 quarters. And then Afrocentric went on like a 6-8-0 run. And the lead went from 6 to 14 really quickly. I think that's what you're going to see in that one again. I'm going to switch it up with you guys. I watched North Adams and South Point. I think North Adams is a more complete team. South Point, they couldn't have gotten more than 5 field goals from kids not named Caleb Lovely. That's going to be an issue if that repeats against North Adams. Should be a great battle between 2024 kids in Branson Copus and Caleb Lovely. But I'm going to go with North Adams. I think they beat a better Minford team and have a little bit more scoring options. And then I am going to pick Afrocentric to return to Dayton.
All right, over in Kettering, Tri-Village moving up a division. Last year's state runner-up in Division 4. They are returning to the regional in Division 3. They will play Harvest Prep, and then Preble Shawnee, Miami East, in the other semifinal. I think this is a really tough region to pick.
I think you could see any of these 4 teams make it out.
100%. I think I'm going to go Tri-Village over Harvest Prep. Not typically do our Central Ohio teams fare well heading down to the Southwest, which is why most of them try to jump at going to Athens.
I mean, who wouldn't want to jump at a chance to go to Athens?
Well, seeing you would be a highlight. Miami East got some dissension going on right now. Oh, man. I'm still going to go with Miami East against Tri-Village. I'm going to pick Miami East to go to the Final Four.
I have Miami East as well. I got a chance to see them down at Fort Laramie, and I think that whenever you have two guys that are capable of scoring 20 to 25 on a given night, when you look at juniors Wes Enos and Jacob Roth, two guys who have each had their share of 20 plus games, and minus all the chatter that's going on online, I do think they find a way to get it done. I will take Harvest Prep over Tri-Village in the other semifinal. And like I said, I will take Miami East to prevail and make it to Dayton.
Yeah, I got the same picks as TJ. I actually got to see Tri-Village play at Harvest Prep, but it was against Parkersburg South in a pretty interesting game. And then things to watch out for that Miami East Preble Shawnee game. Top 4 kids, all 2024 prospects. So could maybe see a rematch of this game next year. But I'll go with Miami East over Harvest Prep.
TJ, did you go with Harvest Prep as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In Canton, this is a team I needed to apologize to, which is Cuyahoga Heights. I wasn't sure I was believing in them. I got a message on Twitter about them. They end up beating St. Thomas Aquinas, who I picked to win the district, and then they beat Smithville. They will play Beechwood and then Minter Lake Catholic against Lutheran East. So I'll take Cuyahoga Heights against Lutheran East, and then I'll take Lutheran East to advance.
I have the same. I have Lutheran East beating Lake Catholic. I have Cuyahoga Heights on the other side. And Cuyahoga Heights is a team that I'm starting to regret that I did not get to see during the regular season. One of their best players, sophomore Max Boland, transferred to Holy Name. And when that happened, I just thought, I kind of wrote them off. So I definitely owe an apology there. But I will take Lutheran East to win this region, actually in pretty dominant fashion, to be honest.
Yeah, this has kind of been the Lutheran East Invitational. I went to the regional semis last year or 2 years ago, and Lutheran East absolutely dominated. So I think they do it again, and I'll also take Cuyahoga Heights to beat Beechwood, so same as you guys.
All right, so in the Final Four of Division III, I'm going to take Ottawa Glandorf against Afrocentric. I'm going to take Ottawa Glandorf to return to the state finals. And then I'm going to take Lutheran East over Miami East in the other semifinals. And give me OG in the finals. OG is going to beat Lutheran East in the finals and complete the mission that they appear to be on.
I will have Ottawa Glandorf and Lutheran East in the state championship game as well. Might be my Northeast Ohio bias right now, but I will take Lutheran East. I think their size and length, especially on the perimeter and on the inside as well, I think this is going to be too much of an issue. When I look at the backcourt of Cody Head and junior Chauncey Brashers, two guys that can really guard and apply pressure on the ball, I think that will give OG some issue. I think if OG is able to get in the half court and get settled in, I think it's a completely different game. But I do think the difference will be on the defensive end, and I will take Lutheran East.
I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. I'm going to take Lutheran East over Miami East in the Battle of the Easts. And then I'm going to take Afrocentric over OG, and then Lutheran East over Afrocentric.
I like it, gentlemen. So we got 2 Lutheran East, 1 Ottawa Glandorf. All right, gentlemen, Division II is a mess. I was looking at this earlier today, and there's a couple teams you could go, oh yeah, I think they're gonna win, but I mean, I counted like 8 teams that if you told me they won, I wouldn't be like, oh man, complete shock. I just think this is a wide open field. Bowling Green, we've got Sandusky, Lutheran West, and then we got Rossford and Van Wert. I'll start at the bottom. I think Van Wert is going to beat Rossford. I think Van Wert, kind of like OG. Van Wert lost so many close games during the regular season. They got a lot of tough kids on this team. Aiden Pratt is the quarterback of their football team that could very easily have beaten Glenville in the playoffs this year. And then Sandusky, Lutheran West. I'm gonna take Sandusky. TJ, you saw them live. They turn those games into a fiasco.
Oh, they do.
I mean, it's just a circus.
They play, and this is no shade to Sandusky when I say this. It's almost a compliment, but I think they play a very ugly brand of basketball, but they do a very good job of pulling you into it.
Yes.
So I think they control the tempo. They have guards that can, rattle off 6 to 8 points in about a 90-second span. They play hard. They defend. I think Lutheran West is the more talented of the two teams. I think Lutheran West won't have many issues handling their pressure. So I will take Lutheran West in that game. And then I am going to go with Rossford over Van Wert. But ultimately, I will take Lutheran West to win that region. I think they're the most tested team out of the 4. I think they played the best competition throughout the season. I think they have the most pieces out of the 4 teams. And I just love what Coach Duke is doing up over there. So, yeah, give me Lutheran West.
You can't pick against your honorable mention state champ. So I'm going to go with Lutheran West. I do like where your head's at, Stubbs, with the Sandusky upset pick. I just think that Lutheran West guards, they're both juniors, but they're experienced juniors. They played a lot of basketball, and Jason Levis and Derek Fairley. I think they handle the pressure well enough. I think the only way Sandusky wins is if they force 20-plus turnovers, and I have faith in Lutheran West guards to not do that. And I think Rossford, I just think Forrest is such a problem inside. But like you mentioned, I'm a big fan of Aiden Pratt. Obviously, I don't scout football, but big-time fan of him on the basketball court and his football highlights. Very impressive. So good luck to him at Findlay. But I'm going to go with Lutheran West over Rossford.
Yeah, I'm going to take this is a bit of surprise. I'm gonna take Van Wert over Sandusky. And TJ and I talked about this in pertaining to Lexington earlier in the year. We thought their guards may be their downfall. And when you commit 31 turnovers and really only still lose by 8 points, that shows you how good their front court was. But I don't know. I'm with you. Lutheran West is really good. I'm just going to go Sandusky, Van Wert, and then I'm going to take Van Wert to be the second WBL team to make the state tournament this year. All right.
One thing I don't think I mentioned on the show so far, and I don't think it was last week either, but that doubleheader that I got to see with Sandusky, Mansfield Senior, and then Shelby Lexington over at Ashland High School, that was just a really fun day. I mean, Ashland's high school gym is really small, but it was packed out. Both games were sold out. After they cleared the gym, it was a split session. It was just a lot of fun. That Mansfield Senior Sandusky game was just a track meet with the basketball in it. And then the Lexington Shelby game was one of probably a top 5 game that I saw all season. It had about 5 or 6 different twists and turns, and I genuinely had no idea who was going to win. And then you had junior Alex Bruscotter fouled out, and then shortly after he fouled out, you had freshman Braden Fogel foul out for Lexington. So it was like the 2 guys who had just been going back and forth. I think Bruscotter finished with 37. Fogel might have had 22, 24, somewhere in that ballpark. It was just a hell of a game that Lexington was able to pull out.
Yeah, I mean, that crowd looked fantastic at that game. People were
Oh, it
standing.
was.
Roth, did you take Rossford to advance?
Yep.
And TJ Lutheran West?
Oh no, I took Lutheran West to advance out of the region, but I had Rossford over Van Wert.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Yeah, I had the same. I had Lutheran West over Sandusky, Rossford over Van Wert, Lutheran West winning the region.
all right. Down below, Vandalia. Kettering Alder and Dunbar in a rematch of a 2-point game early in the season. Teams have changed significantly since then. And then you have Bishop Watterson and Dayton Chaminade, who I believe played in 2021 in the regional in the COVID year. Alter and Dunbar. I want so bad for Dunbar to be at UD Arena because Dunbar has like this rock band like following. If the game is in Dayton, their fan base will come out in droves. I would just love for them to get to experience that. So I don't know why I'm doing this, but I am going to take Dunbar to beat Alter. Chaminade and Watterson, I think, is going to be closer than people think. I watched Watterson recently. Cole Rhett is going to be a problem on that low block. Watterson has a good bit of size outside of him. Some pretty sizable kids. I think this game is going to be really closer than people think. But I am eventually going to take CJ to advance to take on Dunbar, and I will take CJ to beat Dunbar in the semis or in the regional final.
I would love for Dunbar to get past Kettering Alter, especially considering everything that Dunbar's had to deal with this year.
Yes.
With unfortunately losing a player. But my gut has Kettering Alter over Dunbar, CJ over Watterson. I would disagree with you, Stubbs. I think CJ wins that game by double digits. And then I will stick with my state championship pick. I will take Chaminade Julian to advance out of that region.
Yeah, I got the same picks as TJ. Going to be interesting because Alter could have back-to-back rematches against teams that beat them. 0-1 against Dunbar, then 0-2 against CJ in the regular season. I think they get revenge on the first one, but not the second one.
All right. Athens. Back to Athens. Bishop Reedy against Maysville. Tri-Valley, the only team to beat Maysville this year, against Fairfield Union. I'm not going to make any secret. I'm going to take Bishop Reedy in the first semifinal. And I think Tri-Valley is playing really good right now. They got some real nice size. I think that they are going to beat Fairfield Union. And then I will take Bishop Reedy to beat Tri-Valley.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I have Bishop Reedy. I think that team is just on a mission this year. I think when you watch them, the camaraderie that they have, it's refreshing just to watch how they play for each other. The ball's constantly moving. Guys are physical, playing inside out. I think the duo of Caleb Schaefer and Charlie Russell has been phenomenal. I think Luke Ruth has been the catalyst, kind of, the straw that starts to drink for them. So I will take Bishop Reedy over Maysville, and then I will take Fairfield Union on the other side. And ultimately, Bishop Reedy winning the region.
I want y'all to put some more respect on Maysville's name. This is
I'll leave that
a
to you,
team.
bud. I'll leave that to you.
Sell me, Roth. Sell me.
I went and saw Maysville this year, and I really like senior Hayden Jarrett. I think they shoot the ball well. Their coach was Ohio's all-time leading free throw shooter for a career, was recently overtaken by Beatty Lore at Caldwell. I think it's just like the OG one. I'm not going to pick Reedy to lose, but all the Reedy fans can quote me when I say they're on upset alert this Thursday night in the combo.
Woo!
I think that they're the two best teams in the region. It has to be the game with the most combined wins that we'll see all week, unbeaten versus one loss. I think it's going to be a really good one. I am picking Reedy to win, but I don't know if it's as easy as you guys think it is. And then I'll actually take Fairfield Union over Tri-Valley. I just watched Fairfield Union just kind of dominate New Lexington physically. And I know Tri-Valley also has size, but I just feel like Fairfield Union, they're a physical team, and I think they're going to get it done. So give me Bishop Reedy to win the region, but upset alert. Don't sleep on Southtown, all right? Southtown's coming.
Yeah, you mentioned Maysville coach downtown Dave Brown had an outstanding career at Muskingum as well. Former Coshocton Redskin Dave Brown.
Yeah, and I can guarantee Maysville is going to bring 2,000 to 3,000 fans to the combo on Thursday night. It's going to be rocking.
All right, Roth giving out his second upset alert. Down in Canton, give me Buchtel over Cheney, and I will take Gilmore Academy over Glenville, and I will take Akron Buchtel to advance to the Final Four.
I have the exact same picks as you, Stubbs. I think that regional final, potential regional final, I should say, with Buchtel and Gilmore has an interesting storyline. For those of you who remember last year in the district tournament, Akron Buchtel got into a bit of a skirmish. I'll leave it at that with Akron East. Unfortunately, they saw the suspensions of, I believe, Amir Robinson. Braylon Wells was suspended. So they had lost 2 or 3 of their best players as a result of the altercation. Gilmore was able to upset them in the district final, despite Coy Thurman's breakout game. So I think that Buchtel team is going to have something to prove. I think they're going to beat Cheney, and then I think they will beat Gilmore as well. I will take Coach Dent and company down in Dayton.
Yeah, this is where I plan to be on Thursday. Whether I'm really happy or really upset is going to be decided by what happens at 1 p.m. at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. But I'm going to do that doubleheader on Thursday. I'm going to agree with you guys. Buchtel over Cheney. Intrigued to see Josiah Gonzalez. The first time I saw Cheney this year, the only time I saw Cheney this year, he was out injured. And then I'm excited to watch Glenville. For the first time, they got a talented freshman guard, but I'm going to go with Gilmore. They just have more experience. And then, I think Buchtel gets revenge on Gilmore in a battle that, like TJ said, should be very interesting. A couple storylines to watch in that one. So it should be a good Thursday night at the Civic Center.
All right, on the left side of the bracket, I will take Dayton CJ to beat Van Wert. On the right side, I am going to take Bishop Reedy to beat Akron Buchtel. And then in the finals, I am going to take Bishop Reedy to defeat Dayton CJ and complete the unbeaten regular season for head coach Tony Basutti, one of the best in the game.
I know we have a strong following from Bishop Reedy. I know we get a ton of listeners from there. Oh, please don't be mad at me after this one. I am going to take Chaminade Julian over Lutheran West, and then I am going to take Akron Buchtel over Bishop Reedy. I think the guard play of Coy Thurman and Amir Robinson is going to be the difference. And then I will stick with CJ over Akron Buchtel in the state championship game.
Listen, TJ, they didn't hear a word you said because they have already printing
Pop
pictures off
bottles.
of Roth.
Oh. Yeah, they turned it off.
I got it making it down there, so.
They were done. They were done after Roth.
They're going to be blasting that in the locker room
Yeah.
Wednesday before the game. But I'm going to go. Hopefully not all the Bishop Reedy fans tuned out, because I'm going to pick Bishop Reedy to beat Buchtel. I'm going to pick CJ to beat Lutheran West, and then I'm going to pick CJ to beat Bishop Reedy. But if that's the Final Four, those are four very evenly matched teams that could really go any way. So that would probably be the division that I'd be most curious to see if the teams that we sort of expect to make it to Dayton make it there.
All right, let's.
I unfortunately have to get going, guys, so I'm going to give you my Division I picks really quick.
Love it. Do it.
All right, so, shocker, I am going with Archbishop Hoban to win the region. I'll have them beating St. Ed's, and then I have Stowe over Walsh Jesuit on the other side. I think Hoban is playing as well as anybody in Northeast Ohio right now. In the Kent-Toledo region, I will go with St. Ignatius. I believe that they beat Garfield in what's going to be a classic semifinal game. And then I will take Perrysburg over Toledo St. John. And then Centerville, I have winning the Cincinnati region. I think they beat Elder. And then I believe they knock off Fairfield in the regional final in a game that I am hopefully at. And then lastly, I will have Pick Central. I have the Tigers winning against Westerville South. And then I have Olentangy Orange knocking off Newark. But, yeah, give me Pick Central, the reigning state champs. To go back to Dayton. I'm sad I got to miss buy or sell. I was actually really excited about this one. But I will get going, and I will be curious to see what you guys say. So I'll see you guys next week.
TJ, who do you got in the Final Four?
Oh, I will take Centerville over Pick Central in the semis, and then give me Ignatius over Hoban, and then I have Centerville over Ignatius in the state championship game.
All right, thanks, DJ.
See you, brothers.
Later. All right, Roth, let's finish it out here. We got about 10 minutes to go in the show. So in Cincinnati, I'm going to go with Centerville. And then in the bottom here, Princeton has lost to Fairfield twice. The second time was by 23. Outside of that, though, Princeton's only five other losses are by 6 points or less. I don't know what that means here. I'm going to go with Fairfield to win for a third time this year, and then give me Centerville to advance. But I don't think it's going to be easy.
No, I don't think it's going to be easy either. If we remember, Centerville had a lot of trouble in this round last season. Needed a buzzer beater to beat conference rival Kettering Fairmont. But I do think Centerville advanced to the Final Four. I got them over Elder, and I think that Fairfield has earned the respect for me to pick them over any conference opponent. So I'll take Fairfield over Princeton, and then Centerville over Fairfield, and which should be a really, really intriguing regional championship.
Yeah, Fairfield 15-1 in the GMC this year. Outstanding record. All right, down in Columbus/Athens, I'm going to take Olentangy Orange over Newark. And then in the bottom, for the first step of taking down the Kalo regime, Pick Central is going to knock off Ed Kalo on Thursday. And then on Saturday, they're going to knock off Anthony Kalo to take down the Kalo regime. This is for you,
Will it
Mike.
be on Saturday?
What's that?
Will it be on Saturday?
I believe so.
Okay. Don't tell me I didn't warn you.
Okay. Pick Central against Olentangy Orange on whatever day it's going to be on. The This one's for you, Michael Kalo, who has been reaching out to me. I want you to keep that same energy on Thursday.
Oh my.
Okay? Michael Kalo, I love you, man. But Pick Central is coming out of here.
You know, just to rain on Stubbs Parade. I'm not going to rain on Stubbs Parade on Thursday because we need to see Pick Central down here in Athens. But give me the guard play of Olentangy Orange to make it to Dayton. Senior trio, Jordan Edwards, Elias Lewis, Mikey McCollum, get it done. And Olentangy Orange upsets Pickerington Central in the combo.
Okay. All right, the toughest. Oh, go ahead.
I was transitioning to Cleveland, and I don't know why I thought I was going to do that.
That's
So
all right,
my
man.
bad.
No, I was just going to say the toughest game to pick for me was Eds and Hoban. Kind of along the lines of what TJ said. Hoban is playing really well right now. I just don't want to be fooled by that. I just trust Flannery. Man, I'm going to take Lakewood St. Ed's to play Walsh Jesuit, and then give me Lakewood St. Ed's to advance. But I'm with TJ, man. This Hoban team is really intriguing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be a great game. But I'm gonna take Eds. It's tough to bet against Eric Flannery. In a district, in a regional, even when he gets down to state. So I'm going to go with Eds. I think we already mentioned it, but the fact that they've had 0 20-point scorers in a game is one of the most absurd stats ever. And I'm going to go with Stowe over Walsh Jesuit, in which should be a very intriguing game. A lot of capable seniors on the floor for both sides. And then I'm going to pick St. Ed's over Stowe to make it to Dayton.
All right, our last region, the Kent/Toledo region. Garfield Heights and St. Ignatius. I'm going to take St. Ignatius. And then I'm going to take Toledo St. John's over Perrysburg in a parochial battle in the regional final. Give me St. Ignatius to return to Dayton for a third year in a row.
I'm going to agree. I want to pick Garfield Heights. I really do. I think it's going to be a classic. I'm not going to do it, but I want to. So I'm going to take St. Ignatius, but ooh, that's going to be a great one. At Kent State on Wednesday. Hopefully that's the most fun that Kent State has this week, hosting that game. And then we'll go with Perrysburg over Toledo St. John's. And then I'll take Ignatius over Perrysburg. But I think Perrysburg has a legit shot to make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, Coach Boyce does a great job up there at Perrysburg. That would be a great story if they were able to get there. All right, so this would be a great setup for Dayton and the OHSAA if they get St. Ignatius and Eds in the Final Four. These two teams.
Oh wow!
Yeah. These two teams have split this year. I'm going to take Ignatius in round 3, and you already know on the other side of the bracket, the purple.
Bub's got Centerville.
the purple and white. Of Pick Central over Centerville. And then give me Pick Central to be the first team in Division I to repeat since Moeller over Cleveland St. Ignatius in the finals.
I'm going to go with Centerville over Olentangy Orange, and I am going to go with Wildcats over Eagles in the other semifinal, and I am going to go with Centerville to get their second state title in 3 years. A little mini dynasty in the Cups era, if they're able to get it done. But I think the Final Four that you mentioned would be just box office heaven if you get the rematch of Centerville Pick Central and Eds Ignatius. I think at least one of them doesn't make it, though. So we'll see which one that is. I think any of them could lose. But I think the OHSA would be licking their chops at semifinal ticket sales if that's the two games, your semifinals.
Yeah, so definitely a chance that the same 4 teams could be in the Division I Final Four as last year. But still a lot of work to be done this week. We will have, by next week's show, we'll be down to 16 teams in the state, and we will have a chance to see if we want to change our picks again next week.
Yeah, we'll get to see how silly all of our predictions look a week from today.
So, Roth, as we close here, any last parting shots before we exit?
No, should be a great week of basketball. Excited. Like I've teased throughout the show, Tuesday, plan on being at BG. Thursday, plan on being at Canton after I make a pit stop in Cleveland for the MAC tournament. Should be a great weekend of basketball at Cleveland for the MAC tournament. Lots of former Ohio high school stars. Top teams for the top 5 seats from Ohio in Toledo, Kent, Akron, and my Bobcats OU. So just excited for a bunch of basketball this week. And we'll see who the Final Four in each division is going to be.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. You got college basketball tournaments going on this week, high school regional, girls state,